Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of my podcast based on my writings at WaygookinWay.com. WaygookinWay.com is my personal blog website where I talk about issues, concerns that affect Korean and Korean American community from the point of view of an outsider, aka a Waygookin. Check out the writings there at WaygookinWay.com, and if you would like to submit a question or have any concerns, you can always email me at contact@waygookinway.com. That's contact at WaygookinWay.com. So, a friend of mine asked me to briefly talk about some food items that you may enjoy eating in Korea or just are part of Korean culture. So, I want to talk briefly about some of those items for you. The first one that I can think of that I wrote about not too long ago is chimek. Now, chimek is something that most people wonder, why would you put that on a list of food you should try in Korea. Chimek is two words that are put together in shortened form. So chi is the Korean word for chicken or chicken. There is a Korean word for the animal chicken, tak, and so takgogi is chicken meat. But a lot of people are saying just chicken or chicken. So chi in chimek is short for chicken. Mek is short for mekju. Mekju is the Korean word for beer. So it's chicken and beer. And so that's why people get confused. Why would you put that on a list of food items that people should try when they visit Korea? And especially, it's something that Korean Americans will tell you that you have to have because they say that Korean fried chicken is the best fried chicken they've ever had. And the reason for that is because Korean fried chicken typically does not have the hormones and antibiotics injected into it, which means the pieces are smaller, it's more natural, healthy chicken, and it's juicier chicken. And of course, it's fried typically, although you can get baked or grilled chicken, but typically, if you're going to a chimek restaurant, it's going to be fried chicken, and normally there's some pickled radishes and other stuff. You can get potatoes with it that are French fried, and then you have it with beer. And so, chicken and beer is definitely something that I enjoyed in Korea. I had it a number of nights in a row. It was actually my first meal over there was chicken and beer. So definitely I can vouch for it is juicy, tender chicken. Tastes very good no matter where I had it. I had it in Gangnam and I had it in Dobonggu. So multiple areas, but just really good. Perfect for having with friends, especially if you just want to have a beer and something to go along with it. The restaurants do have soju as well, so if you want to have somek, which will be the next thing on the list, then you can have that. Korean beer is not known for being the strongest beer, and so people add shots of soju to it. Soju has been likened to Korean vodka. It's a clear alcohol that is normally made of rice. It can be made of other things as well, but it is a clear distilled alcohol that you drink via shot. So it's not like a beer where you have a glass of soju, you just have shots of soju. So some people like the taste, some people don't like the taste of soju. There's now different fruit flavors of soju. Those I haven't tried, just regular soju. I have had cucumber soju and onion soju. Onion I don't like. I don't like the taste of onion in a drink. Cucumber soju definitely makes it very mellow. So if you're looking to do cucumber soju, how you make that is you cut up a bunch of cucumber, you pour soju over it, leave it in the fridge, let it get cold, and then you can have that. But if you just want classic soju, Typically, in a beer, you just add one shot of soju, and most people are fine. If you go overboard with the soju, that mixed with the beer can get you drunk pretty fast after two or three of those. So, if you're somebody that's used to drinking a lot, you may want to be careful with soju inside of your beer. So, again, that is somek. The next thing on the list that I would say would be Kimbap. Now, the reason for that is if you live in a smaller Korean community like I do, you can, of course, find kimbap at restaurants, you can find it at a Korean market, but you may only get one type of kimbap, maybe two. So, where I live, there is vegetable kimbap. Kimbap is kim, which is seaweed, and then bop, which means rice. So seaweed wrapped rice. In my area, most places make it and they put just rice and vegetables in it. And they may brush it with sesame seed oil and add some sesame seeds on top of it. But it's mainly just rice, maybe some eggs, some yellow pickled radish, some carrot, some spinach. You occasionally see it with meat, so you might have spam in it, or you might have some bulgogi meat with it. But there's many different types of kimbap out there, and so when you go to Korea, there is actually kimbap jjanguk. So kimbap is, of course, the dish, the rolled rice that's wrapped in seaweed, and then jjanguk is a Korean word meaning heaven. So that's why sometimes you'll hear people say, "Oh, we're going to go to GB Heaven," because GB Heaven is where you go to eat kimbap. But there are different types of meat in it. If you go to a GS25 or 7-Eleven, you can sometimes find the triangle kimbap. And in the triangle kimbap, there's different flavors of it. So you have like a pork cutlet one, you have a bulgogi one. My favorite, and it's actually the first thing I ever ate in Korea, was the spicy tuna kimbap. So the tuna fish one, it really wasn't spicy, but it was just a simple tuna fish that had been mixed with mayonnaise, wrapped in rice, wrapped in seaweed, formed in a triangle, and it was absolutely excellent. So tuna fish kimbap is probably my favorite kimbap, followed by bulgogi kimbap. But there's one kimbap that I want to try, and that is donkasu kimbap. So the next thing that's on the list of food that I would say you should try if you go to Korea would be donkasu. Now, some Korean restaurants in the United States have it, some don't have it. And even the ones that do have it, it varies depending upon the restaurant. So, donkasu is actually considered to be a Japanese dish, but it is something that some Korean people eat. It is a breaded fried pork chop, and the way that it is different depending upon the restaurant, some use a very thinly cut of meat, so it's real thin. Others use a thicker piece that's not going to be as big. But most places will cut it in strips for you. Others will give you a knife and let you cut it yourself. It just depends how you want to do it. But it's breaded and fried pork chop, and then they call it donkasu sauce, but donkasu sauce is more of a barbecue sauce, just a thinner one. So if you're used to a thin barbecue sauce, that's kind of what it is, just not real thick. Definitely, if you want to eat some meat but you don't want to eat beef, then donkasu would be a good substitute for that. Donkasu is normally served with a side of rice and normally shredded cabbage that has coleslaw dressing drizzled on top of it. So it's not mixed like you would have at coleslaw that you would buy at a grocery store, but just the coleslaw style dressing on top of some cabbage. So meat, cabbage, and rice. is a very, very good meal. So we're going to stop it right there. We're at the 10-minute mark. But that's briefly some food that you can possibly get in the United States, but definitely if you go to Korea, you do want to try that out. And there'll be more. I'll make another podcast like this describing some foods that you should try in Korea that you may want to try if you're a little bit more adventurous. So definitely, if you have any questions, again, you can email me contact@waygookinway.com. That's contact at WaygookinWay.com. Please be sure to like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can also find my social media links in the description box, so be sure to follow and interact with me there. This again has been the Waygookin, and thank you for listening. And as always, remember that the best way to get rid of your nightmares is to follow your dreams. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.